So here's a group of nurses, and they have discovered that when they go into their changing room, there's a man there. Let's hear their story. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. This is a publication called Personnel Today. NHS Trust faces legal action over trans changing room policy. A group of female nurses has launched legal action against an NHS Foundation trust after being told by its head of HR, this is HR stands for Human Resources, and there's nothing human at all about the way they treat people in most cases, that they need to broaden their mindset when they ask not to share a changing room with a trans colleague. The trans colleague, by the way, goes by the name of Rose and is a heterosexual man who has a girlfriend. I believe he has said he's trying to get her pregnant. And he goes into the women's changing room saying he identifies as a woman. And the Christian Legal Centre are supporting 6 nurses who've launched legal action against them. It starts here with one of them saying that every time she goes into the changing room, she's sort of looking around to make sure it's safe for her to take her street clothes off and get changed into the scrubs. Let's just listen to what they say.
It just makes me feel on edge. You come into work, you're scanning the changing room before you start to undress. It's just uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
It's disgraceful that nurses are ending up in tears prior to their shift. I mean, we are there to be an emotional support for our patients who are about to undergo surgery. And it's very difficult to do that if you're in a state of distress from having to change in front of a male.
We don't have any issue with trans people. We just want a safe space for us, a female-only space for us to get changed.
Now I know the trust policy. Anybody can be in
Well,
there.
that's the problem.
You know, anyone can identify as female can use that changing room.
I don't want to get changed in front of a biological man, and I don't want to see him getting changed neither. It's not what I want to see when I come into work.
And we just wanted to talk about this and raise this issue so that women are aware that there may be policies in their workplace, particularly in the NHS. We want other nurses to be aware of what their gender policy is. We became aware of a colleague who is biologically a male changing in our women's only changing room, and I'd raised a few of the nurses had come to me concerned about this issue, so I became an advocate for them and decided to raise the issue with senior members of the team, who then raised it with HR, and nothing seemed to happen for a long time.
Well, I was told about it about a year ago. One of our colleagues mentioned that we had a male using our changing room, and I thought, I'm not sure how I feel about that. And then obviously went into the changing room, heard this man's voice, and thought, I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable. So therefore, I waited to get changed. Obviously, until he'd gone. But that's probably about a year ago, and then we've been speaking to management about it since then. I mean, there was 26 girls on our ward that signed a letter to say that we felt uncomfortable in the changing room. You've got little offshoots.
So it's divided by a wall first, and then there are lockers. You can't kind of see past them, can you? So right at the very back is quite a vulnerable place, actually. In order to access the changing room, it's a key press, so you need to know a code. It's a very thick wooden door that kind of slams behind, so it's locked once somebody enters. You are very vulnerable in there, and there have been times when I've one occasion where I've been alone with Rose, just walked past them, but I remember thinking, and panicked slightly, because he's very masculine in the way he looks. currently. So that was a bit of a shock.
Have you noticed how polite she's being? She's calling this man Rose and then refers to him as them rather than him at some point, although she does give over and refer to him as him afterwards. Let's carry on. I'm going to read this out to you. Having several HR meetings and a written letter from 26 nurses altogether raising concerns, the Trust continued to support the man identifying as Rose, telling the nurses they needed to broaden their mindset and be more inclusive. Now, it's sort of interesting because I just made a video about the hate crime laws and the fact that the policeman was saying, well, you know, it's very subjective, but if somebody feels like they're being a victim, then they are a victim. And here, these women are feeling like they're victims and they're being told to, well, shape up or ship out. It's funny how it doesn't work so well when it's a lot of nurses, a lot of women there. Isn't that odd? Well, not just women, a lot of working class women. Maybe it's not so odd after all.
I honestly was not expecting that at all. I was expecting them to sort of say, oh, we didn't realise you all felt like this. Let's see what we can do. We certainly didn't get that.
Basically, the conclusion of that meeting was, you know, they're supporting Rose and we all need to be educated. Specifically, me, I had to be educated in how to raise a concern. We had to broaden our mindset, be more inclusive and compromise.
The Trust aren't looking at it as a safety aspect for women, and that's what I find frustrating. Yeah. They're not caring that, you know, from being very young, we sort of brought up, aren't we, to be wary of, you know, always take care when we're on our own, you know, we have our phones by us at all, you know, we always have someone at the end of the phone that we can ring if we feel unsafe. And then suddenly they're saying it's, you know, female spaces are one of the last places that I think we should be able to feel safe in changing areas.
Yes,
female changing areas.
Essentially, it feels like the Trust are telling us it's okay. He has told us he identifies as a woman, so you're okay to get undressed in front of that person.
We weren't even consulted. No. You know, it wasn't even, how do you feel about, you know, he was just there.
And we're not transphobic. We believe that they need their own changing space that's safe.
Now, here, she feels she has to justify herself. No, look, that's somebody else's problem. They are women. They deserve their women's changing room. And that's as far as it goes, really. What happens afterwards is the Trust, the hospital Trust's concern, not theirs. But they feel they have to apologise. And it's because they feel they have to apologise that the Trust feels it can take advantage in this way. It can discount their feelings because they're halfway there already.
We get transgender patients through our unit. We have had transgender patients through and we've looked after them, and you know, we're nurses, we care about people, that's our job, and I don't think any of us would have gone into nursing if we didn't care about people. So it is an insult to make it, we've been made to feel like we've been bigots.
Right. Following the release of their story anonymously last month, these nurses here are speaking publicly, calling for government scrutiny on the NHS changing room policies, which they say are putting them and women across the country at risk. Oh, what a revelation that is.
I think we've all felt like, I don't know, uncertain of ourselves. It's almost like a gaslighting thing that you're made to feel that you're actually...
Exactly what I said. They aren't entirely sure about themselves. She knows it's some sort of gaslighting, but she's not she's almost apologising for being gaslit about it.
Really awful.
And what people are saying to us, though, a lot of people saying, I think you're all really brave.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to be brave.
Yeah, that's correct.
Why is that? You know, oh, we're frightened for you.
Yeah.
Why are people frightened for us speaking out? And that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's what it's come to.
Yeah, I'm hoping that women gain some courage from this and start to stand up for their single-sex spaces and protect them. I really do hope that women are brave and can see that we're being courageous, we're standing out.
I think the NHS and the government need to relook at the policies and provide safe spaces for everybody, don't they? They need to look at the policy and not just, it's all right, you can use a woman's.
This, by the way, is the NHS that the Labour Party are making much of keeping just the same. And the Reform Party, they say they want to change the NHS. Well, you know what? They could do with being changed, couldn't they? Here.
Female space, yeah.
Right. Well, that's it. I've made a few comments, but basically those ladies have put it very adequately themselves. The only problem is that they're too nice about it. They're not angry enough about it. And unfortunately, although the internet is full of people who are referred to as, women who are referred to as Karens, because they're loud and mouthy about complaining about something, there are far more women like these nurses here who are afraid to complain, who feel they should be seeing the other side, who when they know they're being gaslit but are going along with it anyway. This has been going on for years and it's still going on. It hasn't stopped, and it hasn't stopped because these women haven't got angry enough. If they all walked out, perish the thought, if they all just pushed that man out of the room when they were there, then this would all stop pretty quickly. But no, they're going through channels, and channels couldn't give a tinker's damn about them. Okay, till next time. You can help my channel by clicking like, by subscribing, by clicking the notification bell, and by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels are in the description, also links to donation sites, but really the best way you can help me is simply by clicking like. Thank you.